mistake, baby, you fucking with the best of them. My elevator cup will knock the snot about the rest of them. So if you doubt the kid got hard up in his chest pops, you got me fucked up like ex-cops and gem pop.
Yo, all right. Hey, welcome to
episode 8
of the Chris Gabo Show. We are here with the last skeptic on earth. How you feeling?
I'm good. We can use real names too.
Oh yeah, because you're trying to do a career transition.
Now I'm doing a career pivot to. It's kind of like a reverse career pivot because I'm becoming myself again. I'm turning.
Bro, are you gonna do that accent the whole time?
Okay. Well, all right. I'll put on my real accent. So I'm going back to my.
Okay, we're not doing that. Fuck that. Yo, I have one joke planned to the tuck, and I was like, if it works, it works, and if it doesn't, I'm not a professional comedian, bro. This is another thing we're doing here.
Yeah. Okay. So, I like it.
I had one joke in 90 minutes. You're only gonna smile once.
That's good. That's good. That sounds like all of my girlfriends. Anyway.
Wait a second. No, it's not. Look, it's not funny.
This is not funny.
This is serious.
Sorry.
No, but you just got back from London.
I did. Yeah, I did.
You were with the Mandem and the ends.
Yeah, I had to do a refresher course on my accent because I was losing it. I started saying.
Oh, did your accent get stronger when you were there?
Yeah, of course. Because you know what I mean. Because whenever I'm there, it's immediately we go into like Finsbury Park slang with my boys.
Let's hear some of that. I'm from Florida.
You know, I have to be around them. But I'm saying fam a lot. I'm saying blood. I'm saying like, you know, one of them ones like all my days. You know what I mean. All of the shit that you'd say as a Londoner that you don't even think about, but you say it over here and people are like, what? Why are you speaking like that? What does that mean? Or like, oh, I got bare these things. You know, I got bare vodka to whatever. You know what I mean? I'm just like,
you got bare vodka. What does it mean? Bare vodka
means a lot. So I got right. So you just go, yeah. So it's a bit of a mad one, but and then saying still as well. It's a bit of a mad one still. We always say that.
I think you have a beautiful mellifluous voice.
I
really
appreciate
think that the way y'all talk is
yeah.
Can I be honest about something?
Yes.
I am, you know, the two biggest conversions in my life were from atheism to Islam. And then from New York rap conservatism to being a big UK rap head. Like I didn't get it because I was raised around, you know, like guys that only, if it's not Royce the 5'9", it's not, you know what I mean? Like it has to be angular. It has to be a certain thing. If it's not Rakim, if it's not Nas, if it's not Jay, right? And so I used to listen to like shit that now I love.
Yeah, of course.
Shout out Safia for putting me on. And I really, frankly, at the beginning pretended to like UK rap in order to get in the good graces of this woman that I wanted to marry. I was like, oh, yeah, I get it. But behind her back was always like, these Lord of the Rings motherfuckers, bro. This shit, because that's what it sounded like to me, bro. That's what it sounded. I am, you got to understand how, like, it's so funny, man. I feel like, you know, again, like I'm from Florida, but like, you know, my family's in New York and like I, you know, was in New York for a real decade. That's kind of like where it's where my frontal cortex hardened into whatever it is today. And I just had very specific ideas about what the shit should sound like. Like I you know,
that makes sense. Even
West Coast shit. And again, now we're in Los Angeles. Now, like I almost primarily listen to West Coast shit and British shit. And, you know, obviously the American South, because that's where I was like literally raised. But it was a whole sound that I, like the day it clicked, it became my favorite shit. And it's weird how that happened. It's like you're a kid, you're like, you grow up not liking pickles. You're like, this is disgusting. And it's like, because it's acidic and it's vinegar. And then you taste it and you're like, yeah, now I like it because it's acidic and it tastes like vinegar and it's salty and whatever. What is it like? Because, you know, it's funny. I have a friend. You're not my only British friend, okay?
No, I don't like the sound of that.
No, I do know other British people, and actually they're all in LA taking our jobs. They don't send their best. Oh, sorry, that was a Trump.
I don't like other British people in LA. I like to be the only one. This is my unique selling point.
No, my homie. It's so funny because like my homie lives out in London. and we don't talk about, I met this person through acting shit, through playwriting shit, so we don't really talk about music, right? But I take it for granted that everyone loves Central C because everyone here loves Central C. You know what I mean? Like Doja was a huge record. Then what was obviously now the Lil Baby record, Sprinter, you know, all those records. And then I brought him up the other day to this person and they were kind of like, Central C's corny. And I was like, what? I mean, again, they're not in music, right? So I had to, but it's hard to argue when someone's like, no, they're from there. Yeah. So I was like, well, okay, not to me. Like I
like Central C, man. You know, like he's got great records. You cannot deny
To me, they're undeniable records.
Yeah, exactly. So
okay, so that's Cap. Not people like Central C. I mean, like he's one of the big. It's hard to. It would be hard to say. You know, I'm trying to get this camera to fucking do what I wanted to do here. Aha, now it's going to follow me around. Look at that.
Follow me.
You know.
Yeah.
So people do like the records. This is, I guess, my question, right? You know, when I was growing up in Florida, right, there wasn't, you know, the era, it wasn't an inclusive era. It wasn't like, if you were listening to reggaeton, you were Latino. If you were listening to dance hall, you were Jamaican. There wasn't like a lot of like, now everyone listens to everything. Everyone's like, everything's a Habibi ting, and we're all listening to like all the shit at once, right? It was not always like that. And now this thing happens where it's like the records that make it through. Like you think about like Afrobeats and you're like, okay, like I know what Afrobeat songs they're playing at Motherland Sounds, but like, are they playing that in Nigeria? I have no fucking idea. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to ask you about that. Like, what are the records that, as like having nothing to do with London ass motherfucker from Florida, you know, who's like raised in like New York hip hop conservatism, are the records that I like? Do y'all fuck with them? Like, if I go to London, am I going to hear that shit, right? Yeah. Or is it? Are there different things, or is there a combination?
Everything is site specific for sure, and I mean, again, I haven't been to a rave in London in a year. Like,
is that where they play UK rap records?
Yeah, now they
do. Everything's a rave? Like,
well, we just call them raves, but they're
that's
just
what
parties.
I see. Well, I'm learning.
So they're not like, you know, we're not talking about like techno raves. We just like, I just call them raves because they're like,
any party's a rave.
Any party's a rave to me.
All right.
Do you know what I mean? But my boy Giano runs the Whoosh parties, and you know, I know those parties are you know, they play mostly UK stuff. It was like when we had Visions as a club that I was a resident DJ at, and we played mostly UK records. But there was a time that, especially me growing up, that no one gave a fuck about the UK artists. So UK hip hop was seen as cringe, and it was seen as like not important.
Tell me more about that. I want to know more about that.
It was bad, man. It was maligned, you know, so much so that you have all these incredible rappers that were from this maligned fucking...
Name names. Who was around? Please.
That were kind of rejected because we couldn't do it. No one gave a fuck about us. Radio wasn't playing it, and it was only about American hip hop. Then now they all became actors. So you got like Riz Ahmed, and you got like who was a rapper, and you know Asim Chowdhury or Ed Skrein, like you know Doc Brown. All these incredible people that were and are still in my heart great rappers, and now incredible actors, because they're like, well, we understand doing something that no one really wanted us to do or cared about, and but now, you know, all of us were sacrificial lambs in a lot of ways for this new generation. You know, I came up with a guy called Sway, the British Sway, who was, you know, then signed to Akon for a while. And, you know, he taught me how to produce and rap when I was in school with him. And, you know, he had so many incredible records. He's still an inspiration to me. But he was the first one to ever get nominated for a Mercury Music Prize. But no one remembers that because they just go, oh, Stormzy was. But there would be no... I mean, I love Stormzy. This is not a slight at all. But there would be no Stormzy. I'm sure he would say the same thing without a Sway.
See, I've never heard of Sway. I've only heard Stormzy reference Dizzy Rascal, and that was actually...
Dizzy's a legend, of course.
I want to tell you this as a story about, you know, diaspora. Yeah. Not even diaspora. As a story about cross-cultural... The things that filter through. I remember... Picture this.
I'm picturing.
Tampa, Florida, 1998. I don't know how old we were now. Maybe it was 2002, right? middle school. There's heat, palm trees in the air. You can smell the sea breeze. And yet,
delicious.
We had Boy in the Corner. And that was because my boy, Zach Markel, shout out Zach Markel, please call me. I don't know if it was his brother or it was him, but like, he was like, yo, there's a guy who's making beats on his Xbox. I don't know if that's true, but that was the lore.
Yeah.
It was all these sounds, right? And we thought it was the fucking... I mean, those records...
Yeah.
Are pivotal records to me, bro. Like
PlayStation. It was like the PlayStation.
Okay, so it's true.
Yeah,
it's true.
Yeah,
it's
It's Wiley. Like Wiley, the legend, the godfather of grime music, was making records on these old games. I mean, I never had those games, but I mean, this is the law. This is the LORE law and the LAW law. And Wiley is a hero, and he's an incredible like MC as well as producer. I bought his record. So I grew up with UK garage, listening to the pirate radio stations in my area, and that's another site-specific thing that you can play in every rave in England, and everyone's singing along that you can't play here. That's what a big difference. No matter how old the records are, you can do a half an hour, 45 minutes. Like you can do reggaeton here, but you can't really do it in England.
What's funny? The last time I was in London, somebody invited me to a reggaeton night in London, and they said I think they literally said they were like, I want you to feel comfortable in your culture. Your culture's here too. And actually, hilariously, I think there's not a lot of Latinos there, but technically, like the
There's
Latinos.
Colombians, though.
Okay.
Yeah, there's Colombians.
So I heard it was like in, I don't know, Elephant Castle.
Yeah, Elephant Castle is a bunch of Colombian spots.
So when I was out there, my two interactions with like that intersection were there was a coffee shop, and I could tell this guy was Colombian. I was like, hola parcero. Yo soy colombiano también. And he was like, get the fuck out of my feet. He was like, do you want this matcha or not? And I was like, okay, I'll leave. And then
don't tell anyone.
No, literally, I was like, I thought it was cool. And then then my homie was like, I want to take you out and we're gonna go to a reggaeton night. And I was like, bro, what does a reggaeton night look like in the end? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then we got there. We went. It was like I forget where it was, but it was like a 45-hour journey on the train.
Yeah.
I was staying in Shoreditch like an idiot. And literally we got there. It turned out that it had been like, it was like we read the flyer wrong, like it was 3 days before. So we actually didn't get to see it.
Yeah.
But I remember hearing that there was reggaeton in London, and that's like...
there are pockets of everything in London, for sure. But I'm like talking about regular parties that you go to. You can definitely, it's garage, and then there's certain anthems that you can play that you can't play.
What are the big anthems, the garage anthems?
Well, not even garage. I mean, the garage anthems are like Flowers and Sorry by Monster Boy, or like there's so many, or like Little Man, Sia, the Wookiee remix is a classic. Like, Sia she had a big garage record before she was ever like a massive pop star.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Which is crazy. There's so many great records, but then there's also like grime records that you can play in a rave that, like Gigs, Talking the Hardest is what we say is our national anthem. We, like if England are playing the footy, like we mute the national anthem on TV and play Talking the Hardest by Gigs.
That's beautiful.
But you could play that in any rave. Essentially, it was a freestyle, and it started out. It came from Gigs rapping on a Dr. Dre beat. I think it was a Stat Quo beat. No, it wasn't even a big Dr. Dre beat, but people forget
Interesting.
that it is, because it's such a Gigs record. Is
it over the Stat Quo beat?
Yeah. And someone recently, I saw a video, they played it for Dr. Dre, and he'd never heard it before. But this is like one of these iconic...
Might clip that in.
Yeah, one of these iconic records, Talking the Hardest. You play at any English party, and it just goes off. Like, it just... Everyone's rapping it. And there's so many parties I've played it in that it's just... You know what I mean? I've got so many great memories of it. And then you've got like other records which are even more site specific that I used to play, like C-Biz, The Game's Mine, on a Friday night at Visions, and we'd get like 10 wheel-ups, like hands in the booth, just like spinning it back. You know what I mean? And then like that tune is just a special song that, could you even play it anywhere in London? I don't even know. But we were playing it there, and then like when Daniel Kaluuya picked up the Golden Globe for Get Out, he goes on stage and he goes, I was backstage listening to C-Biz, The Game's Mine. And I'm like, Man, I wonder if he was at Visions. Like, I wonder.
He might have been. He might have been.
You know what I mean? But yeah, man, there's just so many great UK records that, like, again, I'm out of touch with new stuff because I've been living here. But
I was gonna ask you about I mean, we'll get back to that. But I did. I was curious, like, what records are, because when I'm in London, I turn on the radio. I just want to see. I want to come back with one or two. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, a little bit like I get records. Again, maybe I'm slightly out of date with it now, but like Millions, I really like. And
who's that?
Millions with a Z at the end.
No, but whose record is it?
No, that's him.
That's the name.
Yeah, that's his name.
Okay, so my bad.
And Nux, I really love. Nux had an incredible album like 2 years ago. Who's just super incredible artist. And Dave, of course. Dave is like my favorite.
Yo, how good do you have to be that you can have a rap name like Dave?
Yeah, it's mad.
Because usually I feel like I used to rap under a terrible name. I'm not even going to tell it to you. I'll whisper it to you off air. Like, it was like it was 600 characters, and it was one of those names where you're like, you cannot fit it on a flyer. This guy's not going to be famous. Even your mom would be like, that's not a famous guy's name, right? And so, you know, when I changed I wanted to like write movies and rap under the same name. Yeah, that was kind of my only sort of edit to like the Childish Gambino project in my head as like a third party observer who has no right to say anything. I walk in his footsteps, right? Inshallah, one day, right? But it's like when I saw him as Childish Gambino and Donald Glover, I was like, nah, it has to be one thing, right? One name. But we just can't even for the biggest artists, like. You gotta. It all has to come from one person, right? And the name is often the term "big paws on a puppy."
No.
Where you're like, oh, like that guy's. There's big paws on a puppy because it's like that's how you can tell. Like, oh yeah, it's a puppy, but like because the paws are so big, that's gonna be a huge dog, right? And I feel like big paws on a puppy you can often see inside of a name,
right?
You know what I mean? Like Pusha T, that guy could be famous,
right?
And then he becomes famous, right? Lupe Fiasco, one of the great rap names in history, where you're like that person could be famous, right? Then there are people who defy that, right? Where you're like their name is a little crazy, and you're like, oh, but the music's so good, like it just is what it is. Dave, imagine if I was rapping under Chris. It's not happening, bro. You know what I mean? Like without the Gabo, it's not happening,
right?
And I think like. The Dave thing is just so impressive on our branding level because the guy's so handsome.
Yeah. Great actor as well.
Great. Oh.
Yeah, and Top Boy, he was really good. Yeah.
You know what, bro? I did not know he was an actor.
Yeah, yeah. And Kano as well. I mean, Kano is like one of my favorite artists from England. And one of the best actors I think we have in England too. He just killed it in Top Boy, and I'm excited for him to just get an Oscar or something one day. I really hope that his trajectory goes that way, man. But I think that there's so many actors, brilliant actors that were rap. I think there's like, I know I'm teeing myself up for that.
No.
But I think that that's if you come from that, they're very they share a lot of traits. They share a lot of traits, rapping and acting, that I can really see, and I know you see it too within yourself. Is like writing and rapping is the same. You're telling a story, but the acting is it's just performing. It's just when I'm on stage. It's when I'm on camera. It's the same shit. It feels like the same shit.
So in episode 3, my homie Alani Alongwe, he was on here, and that was one of the big topics we talked about was like who we kind of ranked, like who are our favorite rappers turned actors. But again, we were talking through an American lens. I don't even all these guys that I know that rap in the UK, I didn't even know they were actors. You know who Hassan Hajjaj is?
No.
Am I saying his name right? I'm gonna if I don't say his name right, then I'm gonna edit it in later. But Hassan is this beautiful artist, an illustrator. He's a photographer, right? So he has a studio that I think it was in Shoreditch. It was near somewhere. And Safi is a huge fan of his. One of the first times we were there, we just walked by his studio, and he was he shot like a famous Cardi B photo. You might have seen. There's kind of like he's Moroccan, I believe. There's like a lot of
is it the famous Cardi B photo where she's in black and white stood next to the window with an AK-47 looking outside of it?
No, it's like
in a suit.
It's big color. He's a big colors guy. it's a debate. It's
I'm
like
taking
very
a piss from the Malcolm X.
Oh, no, okay. See, went over my. I told you, it's not a humor. It's not a humor cast. This is a facts and figures based.
Sorry.
No.
Sarcasm allowed.
No, it's just like, there's nothing more embarrassing than not understanding someone's sarcasm.
Yeah.
Like when someone is, or being on the either end of it, right?
Yeah.
It's like it. So anyway, we went to his studio and he was there, and him and Safi had this like long conversation about poetry, all this stuff. He ended up shooting the cover for her book, Girls That Never Die. Go get that now. Yeah. But great then cover. When she went to go, what'd you say?
Great cover too.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. So you'll see his style and other shit. So his photo of Cardi B was in a similar color palette. Like it was like, using, I believe it was some sort of like Arabic canned goods with like Arabic writing on them, the kind of as a border, and these big flamboyant colors. Is really ill shit. But when Safia went to go, I don't know, get cash at the ATM or some sort of shit like that, it was just me and him alone. I don't know this guy. I don't know anything about him. And he was like, "You want to see some shit?" And I was like, "What?" He's like, "You want to see some rappers from here?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he put me on to all those Chipmunk battles. Or is that his name? Chipmunk?
Yeah. Well,
Chipmunk.
you changed it to Chip.
Chip.
Yeah.
Okay, so Chip, and then what was that other? Who was the dude who was beefing with?
I mean, there's a bunch, but like,
the
it could
famous,
be Getz or it could be,
I think it was Getz, right? There was like a famous thing where a Chip I understood to be like kind of the UK version of a super spiritual, miracle, lyrical in your swimming pool type of rapper, like very, very bar focused, and the other guy was kind of on some street shit. And so then in the
Getz, another great actor as well.
What?
Yeah. They all are, man. Like every British rapper is a great actor.
This is you're putting me on. This is we might have to run it back and do a different kind of episode with this, but I remember watching those YouTube videos, right? And there was some sort of iconic thing where maybe it was Getz, it was whoever Chip was beefing with. He basically, his opponent went and like did a music video like in his estate, right, as like a sign of disrespect. I remember that, and it was kind of like, and I had to have the cultural context explained to me, but I obviously understood what the gesture was.
Of course.
And that's when I was like, okay, I'm starting to put together a sort of a lineage that I can understand. You know what I mean? So like, if you go from, you were saying somebody was before Wiley.
Well, like Wiley was really the first. He's like the
if
godfather.
Wiley's a godfather of grime, right?
Yeah.
Then is it Wiley, Dizzy, Stormzy? Like, is that lineage? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, there's lots in between, but yeah, of course.
Okay, but that's like those are touch points. The way you might say,
of course.
I don't know, like.
And there was
Big J Shine, you know what I mean? Like a sort of into push kind of sort of thing.
Yeah.
Where is Chip in that lineage?
Oh, well, I mean, look, Chip was early on, but he was younger, and he's from the same area as me, Finsbury Park.
Okay, cool.
And but he's post Dizzy, pre Stormzy.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, because he's younger.
Does he still make records?
Chip, yeah. He was on massive billboards when I went back. He's done a collaboration with Old Spice.
Can I tell you that makes me so happy?
Yeah.
Because especially like when I see, look, in Fiambrica, in America, in Los Estados Unidos, it's most battle rappers can't make records always. That's why the Eminem thing is really interesting, because coming from Scribble Jam and all that shit to being like making pop records, right? There's not a lot of. It was happening in that era for a tiny bit, but not. It's oftentimes the impulse that leads you to be a good battle rapper, or the set of impulses that makes you a good battle rapper, doesn't often translate to choruses and making, but battle rap is one of the canonical forms, you know what I mean?
Course.
So
in America, they see the British, these, like, I would never see a grime battle as a battle. Like Lord of the Mics or something, I would never say, I don't think anyone would classify it as a battle. They would say it was a clash.
Okay, like sort of in
they say it was
sound clash,
clash.
Like
Exactly.
From dancehall
battle rap, UK battle rap is like Don't Flop, or like that kind of stuff, which again is like incredibly smart and fucking bonkers, and Lunacy, who I've produced for, and old pal, he's watch his fucking compilation videos from Don't Flop. They're brutal. They're like more brutal than you can ever imagine. Like the guy's a genius with words, and but like the grime clashes, I would designate as clashes. It's hard to explain.
No, but I want to get into this. I want to get
okay.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. Well, so the chip and get stuff, right?
But that still, I guess, was
because I mean that
diss record.
Those are real diss records. I mean, even from an American perspective, I was like, yo. This guy, this is like, I don't know. Do you guys have a history of that kind of thing ending in violence, or does it?
Yes and no. I mean, not in the same way of
It's not like a Big and Pac thing.
I mean, yes and no. Again, it's like not something that I think I would ever talk about in public. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm just talking about the broad I just
yeah.
Trying to understand the history is what I'm asking. No, I'm not asking for a specific.
No. Of course. I mean,
if things
get things get I think sticky no matter what, especially But if it's on record, I guess it's on record. If it's not personal and it's on record, if it's just about the art, then it can be, then it doesn't really. Then it's not going to turn personal. I remember Loki having beef.
I only know that guy from Palestine stuff.
Yeah, man. I was his DJ for a very long time, man.
Oh, yeah. Word. Okay.
We went to Lebanon together, and we went. You
went to Lebanon with Loki?
Yeah, man. We went to the Borja Barajni Palestinian refugee camp in southern Lebanon, man. And it was.
Shit, that's dope.
Yeah, man. Recording with iVoice, a couple of rappers from the camp. Yeah, man. Long time ago. 2000.
How are those people now? You keep in touch?
Yassine, I believe, is in Canada, and TNT, I think, is somewhere in Europe. Yeah, I think they're all right. Yeah, but they got out somehow of the camp.
It's interesting because this is sort of a natural. We can go back and forth, but it's sort of a natural segue to something that I was also interested in, given that you just came back from London, because obviously, Zionist repression of solidarity with Palestine in the United States is bananas. But from what I've heard anecdotally and from the news, like the UK is on some different shit.
Yeah, it's mad. What going back is that there's just kafirs everywhere.
Amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah. It's like a different beast. Like you'll be on the tube and just everyone's like, people wearing kafirs. You're like, no one's saying anything. It's just like normal. Well, and badges, wearing little pins, Palestine pins.
Interesting, because that sort of is like maybe the opposite of kind of what I've been hearing, or maybe those two things are hand in hand. But one of the journalists at the Electric Intifada, I know that recently they were like, they raided his house, they took all his hard drives under some sort of auspices of, like it's this thing that's going to happen here too, which is like I believe in the United States it's called something like HSG law or something, like Hamas support group. So like anything, if you say Free Palestine, they're like, you are a Hamas support group, and now this is terror. So it's kind of like how RICO works,
right?
You know what I mean? Where it's like a larger conspiracy.
It's like the Patriot Act, kind of.
It's like Patriot Act, and RICO had a fucked up baby, and he looks like Rudy Giuliani with a fucking blood leaking out of his face. Yeah. Like that's how I think about those laws. And when I saw that the journalist from the Electronic Intifada like had his shit taken, and that was in London.
Yeah,
it was. I think that they asked the British press the British press asked law enforcement basically like, what is he being charged with, and they were like, they didn't answer the question. I think he's out. I think they returned some stuff, but from what I'm hearing, and again, I don't totally understand your legal system at all.
I mean, me neither.
But yeah, I mean, do you think that it is more dangerous to be pro-Palestine in the UK than it is in the US, or do you think it's relatively similar? Or?
I think it's more dangerous in America, in LA for sure.
In LA,
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think so. I think just in terms of pushback, it's gotten a lot easier to speak your mind openly since a year ago, but it's still. I think in London they're way more. I mean, the protests are happening all the time. I was at a Cinema for Gaza event the night before I left London, and it was packed. and this is like a year later after this particular onslaught, and you just go like it's. I think people are more open to it, and I don't know why, because we are the king colonizers, So, but also London is a very wonderful place where people are politically driven, and it's smaller and it's closer together, so there is more of that community energy with people speaking face to face rather than the metaphorical and literal term of everyone driving their own car and not speaking to each other of LA.
That's really interesting. Corin has now debunked what I thought, so we hit the Snopes.
And that's my real name, Corin Diab. So, this is...
where should people follow you? Where should people follow you on...
Just don't. You don't even have to. No one has to follow me.
What the fuck? Can't we do like a plug? Or
no,
okay, we're in this...
I used to say this all the time when I would guest on something. They were like, oh, so what's your handle? I'm like, it doesn't even matter. We're all going to die. And you can find me if you can just find me. If you like, I'll set,
go outside.
What I'll do is I will set.
Don't make me leak your address.
Set a trail.
This man lives at.
I'll set a trail of clues, intricate clues, and you can find me if you follow those clues. You'll be able to find me.
Okay, well, that went nowhere. I'm trying to host a show here, bro. I'm like, what's your name? He's like, not important. Where can they find you? That wasn't even a transition.
It's of no consequence.
No, listen, I got to tell you, because our mutual friend, DJ 100 Proof, aka Jeff, when he was on afterwards, I was in the edit, and Safi was like, you have to fucking ask people what their handles are. You have to, that's why people are doing it. And I forgot, so I thought I was doing the right thing just to get.
No, you are. I'm just a bastard. Yeah.
Hey, you're not just a bastard. You're so much more than that.
I appreciate it. I'm a bastard 60% and then 40%.
No, not we need to be nicer to each other. I think that in our culture, we need to be nicer to each other. So I can't even. No. I'm actually. This is going to sound very hippy dippy, but I feel like there's a lot of stuff that I'm trying to not say even in jest. You know what I mean? Like even like sarcastically, when I would be like, "I hate you, I can't stand you," I don't say that anymore because it's not true.
You say, "I love myself."
No, not even to me. Even though I do need to talk to myself better, but I mean like to other people. Like you know what I mean? I even when language is real. You know what I mean? As MCs and writers and all this shit, we know that language is real. Man.
Don't you think we spell and then we cast spells?
See, you're being fucking sarcastic over here. No, you think you're being funny
serious.
time?
I'm being serious.
Do not let me get in my bag about this shit because
I believe it, man.
Then why does your face look so fucking sarcastic? Because maybe you should take the little L thing and zoom out so people can see your I
don't even know what it's doing.
Yo,
I can't
put
see
the L
screen.
by your face and the camera will zoom out. But it did. Okay, see, I have
fucking
to,
flashed me, not in a good way.
Reef Loretto is not here today, so I have to be looking at the laptop the whole time.
Oh,
no, man, it really, it just, I'm actually very happy to hear that, I mean, it's Kafia's out on the tube because, one of the things that I've been thinking recently is like how much a lot of this repression and how it manifests is really city specific and even like neighborhood specific. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like there's shit that happens in Beverly Hills on the west side and all this stuff that like, I don't fuck with any of that. Yeah. Right. That's not a place I would go, on the east side and Hollywood and different places when there are, protests downtown LA, you know what I mean? I feel a little more in community. And I think that that's, obviously also about class, right? Because it like Zionism is a class-based form of ideological warfare, right? So it stands to reason that the more that there is wealth concentrated in a part of a country or in a side of town or whatever, that is going to be the places that have, where the thumb is on the scale the most, and it's interesting because I'm sort of like creating this little timeline in my head for the UK stuff and how it's different from the, American shit, because I guess I was there like maybe, I want to say a year ago. And my friends who were there right after, like, sort of like well, actually I went to London when I was writing on season 2 of Mo, that was like, you know, a couple months after October 7th. And I had heard that like people were like, yo, I know that you have all these fucking opinions. Shut the fuck up in the UK. That's what I was told.
Yeah, but that's crazy to me.
You know,
because I don't think that's right. I think it was way more like that in LA.
Well, you know, one thought that I'm having right now, you know, if I had the budget to play Stings, I'm an Englishman in New York, right? Like an Englishman in, you're like, what I'm saying is that you are surrounded by people, like-minded people, because you're from there.
Yeah, true.
I think, right? I'm not trying to denigrate or but I'm saying that.
And I don't know, like what? Well, it's gentrified now, but from a historically working class part of town. Yeah,
historically working class part of town. Also, you know, Arabs and Muslim is in. Correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I understand and what I've observed, Arabs and Muslims are a quintessential part of the working class in the UK.
Especially in Finsbury Park. We've got the mosque that, you know, the famous mosque there, you know, Blackstock Road is you know what I mean? You know, we've got Eritreans and, you know, we've got like all types of Middle Eastern folk on Blackstock Road, and you can get everything, and you can get the merguez, you know, and you can get whatever you want on that road, man. There's a lot of Moroccans and stuff like that, and it's you know, I love that about Finsbury Park growing up, because then you get the Jamaicans as well.
It is I think it is important what, you know, demographics make up the working class in different, you know, in different countries, in different cities, you know, because I think that whereas I think that the way we Americans, Fiamarica, the way we think about, you know, Arab and Muslim population is outside of like, you know, Dearborn, Michigan, where I'm like, that's the, you know, thought of as a populace that has electoral power, or in New York City, where it's, you know, they are part of the working class demographic that people notice, that people think of as being a fabric of the city. But again, the United States is so much of a bigger country, right? We're fucking huge, right? So it's like when you're going to talk all this fuck Palestine shit in the UK, you know what I mean? Like repress the kafia, repress anybody in solidarity, that I think is going to have a different impact, because there is sort of a demographic that's already built into the ecosystem that has a relationship to this, right? Whereas it's kind of, I feel like, and this is not a one-to-one, but I think about it as how, you know, Mexicans and Central Americans in the United States are just understood to be a part of the quintessential working class in the United States, no matter where we are, kind of. You know, in the predominant areas of thought around the United States, we all understand. We're like, yeah, if you deported everybody that Trump wants to deport, your economy is done. You know what I'm saying? So I wonder how much that affects the, you know, the flavor of repression in different cities. So, well, I'm very glad to hear that the environment feels,
but again, it's London, so it's a different beast. You know what I mean? It's. Do
you mean compared to the broader UK?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay, okay.
It's a bubble, but yeah. There's a. You ever heard of Cockney rhyming slang?
Is it like the oh wait, hold on. The A's and B's. It's like
yeah, it's like you say one word. But
I've heard Idris Elba do it in like a video on YouTube.
Yeah. And it's funny because
apples and rapples.
Bubble is Cockney rhyming slang as well, right? That's what made me laugh. Bubble, bath, laugh. Oh, you're having a bubble, mate. You're having a laugh. That's what you mean. Crazy.
Well,
right?
friends, language is a constantly evolving thing, and the Chris Gabo show does not support xenophobia, even against
British.
Wow. Whoa. I didn't say, hey, you know, all accents are valid.
They are. Do I sound more British since coming back to LA? I think I do.
You just said home. Do you see that?
Yeah,
see that? I'm gonna put that. I'm gonna clip it up.
Home.
Yeah. He went Hollywood, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I did. bloody Hollywood.
You try how it so I gotta say when we met I was just so it was a fascinating kind of interaction, right? Because I've been pushing the rock up the hill for many years unsuccessfully with the music shit, I would say, from my opinion. I mean, I've done stuff, but my wife would be like, don't talk about yourself like that. But I'm like, I didn't fucking,
you just said you weren't going to talk about yourself.
Yeah. Well, no, I said I wasn't going to talk about other people.
Right, fine.
I didn't say I was going to be nice to myself. I was going to be nice to you, motherfuckers.
Well, treat at least one of your own personalities. Well.
But, I got to LA through the writing shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I have sort of tried to play this whole, entertainment is lateral thing, and tried to move like that to make inroads into the music shit. Whereas you kind of have the opposite journey, right? You've been making how long have you been making rap records?
24 years.
God damn, that's an adult. That's a college student.
Yeah.
That's a college. You've been making rap records for as long as a college student has been alive.
That's crazy. Yeah.
And now you're trying to transition into this Hollywood shit.
Yeah.
That's why. That's why when I said shout out the last skeptic, Big London, he was like, "Shut the fuck up. My name is Corin."
Corin Lyle, do ya? This is it.
Yeah. Change the handles, baby.
Yeah, I will eventually at some point.
So am I not allowed to play a joint on the show?
No, you can play the joint because I'm still making my new album, and but it's just. And I'm always going to make music, and I'm always going to rap, and I'm always going to produce, and I'm always going to score and, do stuff for telly and adverts or whatever the fuck it is.
That means television for anyone listening at home. Footy means...
football.
Foot? I thought it meant foot job stuff, like foot stuff. Like when you take the palms of... Okay, sorry. Okay, continue. I told you this is not a comedy podcast, bro. This is not Opie and Anthony. Get your shit together. Listen, I think this is a good time to transition. I want to listen to your joint.
All right.
Then we're going to come back for a little more bullshit. Does that work?
Yeah. This is... Shall I introduce
this joint. Introduce this.
Hey there, cool cats. This is the brand new record from rapper The Last Skeptic. This one's called Bottle Service, and it's not actually about bottle service because the artist himself, The Last Skeptic, is too
needs
poor.
To borrow $1.50 to get on the train. This song's called Bottle Service. I want to listen to it.
Yeah.
All right.
Bessie in the house and I'm with you. 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 Bottle service and we're looking at off. Ain't paying for that, man, we're looking at off. Bottle service and we're looking at off. Ain't paying for that, man, we're looking at. Met the right somebody at the wrong time. Lived the life real lucky in the sunshine. Still not enough, still wanna run and hide. Still wanna pop, shoot shots at the sky. Tryna have no feelings. Listening to Pusher on the bus while I'm healing. Knock heads, it's teething. Cards close, I'm dealing. Reading from the trauma of the weekend. Some mine, some yours. Come see, come ça, encore. Take me to church, top floor. Looking off the ledge once more, yeah. Cynical but sinkable, sinking in the miracle. Sure, with a teammate that's typical. Or is she fit and I'm yours? Food for the brain, every course. When you don't talk. Bessie in the house and I'm with you. 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 Yeah, bottle service and we're licking that off. Ain't paying for that, man, we're licking that off. Bottle service and we're licking that off. Ain't paying for that, man, we're licking that. Got in bad trouble from doing them things. You had my back by pulling them strings. Pushing those buttons, putting them in. Bonnie and Clyde, Lewis and Harrelson. Married in sin, married to a king. A shotgun wedding, pride in the bin. Every DM I've been sliding in. Got me more karma tokens than I could ever spend. bouncing off the walls, bouncing with these fools. The clown within the school on the run with a jewel. It won't last long, so let's be true. Let's be in them, let's be me and you. Best seat in the house and I'm with you. Best seat in the house and I'm with you. Best seat in the house and I'm with you. Best seat in the house and I'm with you. Bottle service and we're licking that off. Ain't paying for that, man, we're licking that off. Bottle service and we're licking that off. Ain't paying for that, man, we're licking that.
That was Bottle Service by The Last Skeptic featuring Deya.
So that licking it off means stealing.
Bro, come on, we're not stupid. We're just American.
We're not paying for bottles.
Yo, hold on a second. You think I don't know what licking that off means?
I'm telling them.
You're telling them. The listener is astute.
The listener is astute.
I don't know who the listener is.
The listener is astute.
Yo.
The listener is astute.
And you produced that record too, right?
Yeah, man. I did.
That's.
Yeah.
I gotta be honest. I'm jealous of that. You like rap, produce, mix, record,
master.
All right, you don't have to fucking, you know.
But most of the time I do nothing. I just lay in bed depressed, having a panic attack. But then I'm very, very productive for like an hour every day, and I do more in that hour than most people do in 6 months.
That's impressive.
But oh my god, the rest of the day, oh my god.
It's a bummer. It's a slug. I don't know.
It's
I don't know what.
It's a slug.
What's give me one
it's long.
last.
It's long.
It's long.
It's long. It's long.
All right, we're cutting that.
It's long, man. You know, because you probably hear grime artists saying it's a long thing.
Oh, see, I thought you were making a dick joke, and I was like, we don't do dick jokes on the Chris Gabo podcast.
No. It's not, no, I don't. I don't even rap about dicks or sex.
I rap about sex.
I don't want anyone thinking about me having sex. I don't want to think about me having sex.
I want everyone picturing me having sex. That's what I want.
That's what you want. That's the whole reason that you rap.
Know, it's not the only reason I rap, but the other day I was talking to my manager, shout out Leslie Conliffe, and I said something, and I was like, yeah, well, you know, because I'm like wholesome, and she was like, you think you're wholesome? And I was like, I thought, she was like, you're not wholesome. I was like, oh, well, in that case, I'm getting these sex raps off, you know? I don't know, man. I had a friend early on in this thing called life, especially in the music shit, where he was basically like, look, you're either I'm gonna put my meat on your chest rapper, or you're not. Like you can't be taught. Like you're, and I am not that. Put my meat on your chest is crazy. Like there's some like, you know, the baby joints where I'm like, I like listening to them, right? But I'm like, I couldn't do that. Like I might have just gotten, I might have just blushed. I can't really tell.
I just don't want to do it. I don't want to rap about sex.
I do want to rap about sex, but I have my limits, and I'm always finding the line.
Yeah.
You know, I think that there's a thing, especially in, you know, we have exhausted the topic of sex raps on the first episode, so I won't go too far down that road. No, but I think that what's an interesting topic to talk about is kind of like what you will and won't rap about.
Yeah.
Like I'm often making Venn diagrams. Like I'm always like, okay, I'll take an artist, right? I'll be like Eminem, and I'll be like, okay, Eminem. Then I'll be like Chris Gabo. Okay, then the Venn diagram, and I'm like, Eminem raps about this. It doesn't go in the middle because I would never rap about that. I would rap about this. He would never rap about that. So that's like a thing that I can put in the individual column where I'm like, oh, that's cool, right?
Yeah.
But then I'll go, okay, if I wanted to capture this feeling, right? Yeah. I'm not gonna rap about carnage and murder and like, I don't like horror raps. No, you know what I'm saying? No. But I like aggression I like battle rap. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, you know, it's really funny because there was this era where you could be like, I'll lyrically send shots. I'll lyrically put you in a headlock. That's we can't. That era is over.
Murder your whole family.
I'll lyrically, exactly. I'll lyrically burn your house down. You know, the M records were because he wasn't lyrically doing it.
He was just
I will burn your house down for real. And I'm like, it's interesting because I wonder, as maybe kind of a bridge topic here, because I wonder how much of The Last Skeptic is you, Corin, and how much of it is character, and how do you picture those things?
Good question. And I was having this discussion with a wonderful actor yesterday because we were talking about, my transition into being an actor, and he's always been familiar with me as a rapper, and we were talking about how like I don't really think it's that different because they are all elevations on our own, on who we are, right? And even actors, some of the best. I mean, I love Denzel, right? I love Denzel. In any film, I could watch him. He's one of the best actors to ever exist. But he is still uniquely him. And there's the reason why he's such a good actor is because he gets out of his way enough in Gladiator 2 that he just sits there and he just moves a bit of cloth. He moves a bit of cloth in a Denzel way.
Corin, I hate to be pitching you to listen to my podcast while you're on my podcast.
Yeah. Because I can't physically do it right now.
No, but you should watch me and Alani's episode because we I think you'll get a lot out of it.
Okay, all right. Then I won't go over.
No. I'm saying that like this is a thing I think about a lot.
Yeah. Anyway. I can't remember the question. How much is me? I think it's a purified concentrate of me.
Okay, well,
and I think it's like it's a clarified butter version of me because it's all of these things. It's a ghee,
clarified butter ghee.
Yeah. I know. I don't want to say it. I don't know if they're these.
Bro, I told you our fans are a culture.
Astute.
They know what ghee is, and they know what licking that off means. Okay, so don't talk down to the people here.
What a long ting was.
Well, I really almost edited it out. I thought it was I thought it was.
Something being long, by the way, fans and listeners, is something being long is like fucking hell. That's a mission. That seems like a big thing to do. That's like, or she's longing me off. If a girl's longing you off, she's not texting you back. She's like fucking.
Oh, she's elongating the process.
She's elongating everything for no reason.
So if I was like, hey man, do you want to?
If you join, if Chris Gabo was like, do you want to act in my film? And then I was waiting 6 weeks for a script. It's like, why is Chris longing this off? He thought he said I wanted to be in his film.
Am I longing this off or longing you off?
Oh, it could be both.
Why is Chris longing this off? Why is Chris longing me off? Yeah. And if I say, hey, do you want to drive to Ojai? You'd be like, that's a long thing. It really is a long thing. Let's not,
It's not even that far, actually. That's a medium. That's I'm
trying to get the etymology right.
Yeah.
So, okay. If The Last Skeptic is a clarified butter version of yourself, right? Why not rap under Corin? Or how do you pronounce your last name?
Duyeb.
Yeah. Why not be Corin Duyeb?
I would have loved to.
But it wasn't...
as a kid, you know why? Because, again, pale, white motherfucker, but, I'm a quarter Arab, North African, Tunisian, quarter Ukrainian, quarter Irish, quarter English. So my first name's Irish, my last name's Arabic. And but there was still...
if you're Irish and Moroccan, you have to be pro-Palestine.
Tunisian, but yeah, 100%. But the thing is that, people would take the piss or misspell my name all of the time. So I had no confidence, and I'm not out here going, it was a microaggression, but whatever. But, rich motherfuckers... Oh, what's your last name? Dweeb.
I can see, yes.
Do you know what I mean? Like, and it's like, well, it's going to be easier for me to have a rap name than it is to use my own name because no one's going to be able to spell it. People still can't spell my last name. And it's like, so I'm just like, The Last Skeptic was so much easier. It's just less to deal with. And now I'm just so proud of it. You've got incredible, incredible comedian like Ramesh Ranganathan in England who just wears it with his chest. That's my fucking name. Spell it right. You can spell Tchaikovsky. You can spell my name. And so that's why I'm so excited and proud to move into a different world of acting and writing where I can have Corin Lyle Duyeb on screen as my name. Maybe The Last Skeptic is my music. Maybe that's just what it will always be my music moniker. But it will feel more real to me having my real name on screen, I think, and that's a big. It's a big. It'll be a big moment for me, I think, to do that, because I don't like people calling me skeptic when I'm out in the fucking on the road or whatever. I don't want fucking. I don't want someone being like, "Hey, what's up, skeptic?" Nah, man, allow it, like leave it. Just. My name's Corian. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Corin was just like, paparazzi, please. I can't. No, I don't want to be the center of attention. Yeah, that's beautiful. I
did have it one hilarious time.
Tell me.
That I was walking. I say hilarious. I was walking through wherever, Stokey or somewhere in East London years ago, and I'd given like an unhoused person some change, and he goes, "Are you the last skeptic?" And I went, "Yeah." He goes, "Honestly, man, I'm your biggest fan. I love all these records." And I was like, and then I was stuck in this awkward Curb Your Enthusiasm situation because I only had like £1 to give him, and so I was like a pound coin, UK denomination of money.
We know what a pound is. Yo, Corin thinks you motherfuckers don't know anything. Jesus Christ. He's like, in
but
London,
they might have thought £1.
Nobody thought that. I need you to understand that we're in an internationalist time.
All right.
It's not a German franc. It's not a
it could be.
Anyway.
So that's really kind, unhoused person. I was like, it was a curb moment because I was like, oh fuck, well, I want to give you more now because you're my only fan.
He's not your only fan, bro.
So I was like, fuck, well, okay, what do I do? I was like, thank you for a start. I appreciate listening to my music.
This is London?
In London. And
now, if you gave someone a British pound in America, that would be a macroaggression. That would be like, what the fuck do you want me to do with
exactly,
this, bro?
Right? And so I went home, and I at the time Puma was sponsoring me, and I had a couple pairs of sneakers. So I just went home, picked them up, and then gave them to him. And I was like, I don't know, what do I do? But it fully came out of, would I have done that if he didn't like my music? Would I have done that if he didn't know who I was?
Damn.
This is my one fan.
This is need-based financial aid, but the need is you. So you're saying like...
the need is my validation.
Yeah, if someone fulfills the validation need, then you'll go get the Pumas from upstairs.
So here's a hot tip. If you want free things from me in any regard, and I'm not talking in a weird upper-class awful way of addressing the unhoused community. I'm talking about if you just... anyone wants anything from me, just tell me you like my music.
Yo, honestly, that's very relatable. That's very relatable. I think that when I was my first couple of years in Hollywood, I was so eager, and I was so like, yo, I knew what my quote was as a writer. Yeah. And so I was like, let me trade this up. Let me trade this sideways. How much screenplay will get me a feature? How much screenplay will get me I don't know, like a music license or whatever. It never worked once. So now I'm trying to be like more, I don't know. Cause I think when people know what you really want, it's easy to be manipulated. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Also, I think the music game is tougher than the movie game.
I think music is the dirtiest industry of all the industries. And you can tell that because everyone, let's say you don't work in Hollywood, right? You see Harvey Weinstein, Scott Rudin, Woody Allen, all this stuff, and you're like, yo, it's a mess. It's a terrifying, horrible place in Hollywood, which it is. Then you see people in music being like, oh, I can't wait to go to Hollywood where it's safe and I can keep my money. And you're like, wow. So that must mean that music is...
That's crazy, man.
I mean, it's the worst.
And Hollywood is filled with rich kids and nepo babies, but music is like next level nepotism and rich kids. Like it always has been. A&Rs are wankers. Like there's so many wankers within the music industry, so many people that I've called proper cunts to their face because they are, and I got in so much trouble with so many people, but I just don't care because none of them were paying me anyway. So who cares?
What's that Stormzy line with fuck giving money to people who don't like us?
Fuck district and fuck all these nightclubs and fuck giving money to people that don't like us.
I love Stormzy, man. I really do. And I think he's done so much for the community as well, and he does a lot, he does a lot of wonderful things. But yeah, man, the music industry never cared about working class or emerging talent or emerging genres until they bubbled up to a point they couldn't be ignored. and that was the case with pirate radio, with garage. That was the case with UK rap, with grime, bassline, UK funky, like everything.
What's UK funky?
I'll send you some. It's like funky house. It's good.
Like kind of like house tempos with like a bass line?
Yeah, but just like yeah. It's sick. Okay. Yeah. There's a lot of great records out there. I mean, Crazy Cousins were sampled on that Big Drake record. What's it called? Anyway, I'm tired. I can't think of the name.
What do people? I mean, again, there's a pre-Kendrick Drake era and then a post-Kendrick Drake era. But prior to the beef, how do people in UK rap think about Drake, right? Because for me as an American listener, I learned who Skepta was from More Life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like to me, it was like, yes, there's culture vulture stuff, and also it's ambassadorial because he has the biggest platform. Yeah. So he puts, a Skepta verse next to a Young Thug verse.
And who else was doing that? I mean, look, Drake as a DJ for 20 plus years as well. I can't deny the
ear.
The ear. And also I've got so many Drake records I could play in a club to 1,000 people and everyone's singing. Like, you can't deny the pop nature and the pop power of a person like that. And I love Drake records, man. Obviously Kendrick's my favorite artist of all time, but I
has he always been, or now because you're in LA you have to say that?
No, honestly he's been my favorite artist since Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe. And Section 80 I loved, and I loved that, or like that Waiting for Detox freestyle that never came out. I fucking loved that. But he wasn't cemented as my favorite artist. I mean, Rigor Mortis came out, I was like,
that record,
yeah, of course. But when fucking Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe came out, it was a special record for me. And like, that single, that it just like, and I saw him perform in a smallish venue in London, and I was like, oh my god.
Wait, where did he play in London?
This was Electric Ballroom.
So this is Good Kid, Mad City era?
Yeah.
Wow.
In Camden, and my friend Rada, who then went on to manage Skepta, funnily enough, she was opening DJ, and she put me on a guest list for it, and it was just crazy. I was there, and it was a small venue. It's not a big. It's like maybe 400 cap. Wow. And it was incredible. And I was hosting a party at the time, a big hip hop party in London that I did for 5 years, and getting everyone to sing along with these tunes from Good Kid, Mad City was just crazy. Like every record on there was a sing along, and to me it's just great memories. And so he became this artist that I he's a similar age. There's something about his journey through therapy and like all of these things that I was like, Kendrick, yeah, that he's a complete artist. One that I go to feel things, like his new record, that Reincarnated song. I listen to that about 400 times a day. It gets me out of bed. Do you know what I mean? I texted my friend yesterday and I said, this Reincarnated record by Kendrick makes me want to fight God. I just put it on and I just want to like punch everything. And it's great.
A stuff a lot, but I know what you're saying.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah, and like, it's so good. God with a small G.
I'm just kidding.
God with a GAWD. No,
all right.
But anyway, look, you cannot deny the power of Drake and the fact that Drake put Gigs on that record, and the Americans heard Gigs, and Gigs is probably still my favorite British rapper. You know what I mean? And like, I did one record with him, and he's the loveliest guy in the world. Proper, we say safe, like cool, and just all of his records are. He's got like the most unique voice, and Drake put him on KMT, on More Life, and Gigs stole the show, and that's like a classic record. And Skepta's on that album and killing it. You can't look, whatever you say about culture vulture, whatever fine. No, I can see why that might be seen like that and fine, but also he does platform people. Well, who else was doing that?
That was my question, because it's not for me to like point finger and call culture vulture about a culture that's not my culture. I was just curious, like, again, this is like ninth party observation, but I kind of felt, I was like, yeah, he's, he got me into a sound that I wasn't into, right? Yeah. So I was wondering if what the point of view is from the rap community.
And I think
there.
a lot of people really don't mind it so much. Like, yeah. So like, it's. I think I really think that they don't give a shit too much because he is platforming people, and he was in London like a lot.
Yeah.
And then you would see him with every up and coming artist, and then he did the thing with Heady One, who's who's fucking sick.
The Only You freestyle with Heady One, I think crazy, it's some of my favorite music ever.
Heady One's like a legend, man. Like I remember he had this tune. This was early on before it was starting to be called drill, because I guess it was what Chicago drill was the thing at the time. But then like UK drill, people weren't really calling it that. And this Heady One record came out called No Better, and No Better was just like, I mean, it still is a classic to me. I love it. And I was on stage at my boy Merkish Dave's night, Tonga, and Heady One was the guest, and he came out and he did No Better, and I was just stood there like, man, and I was just like, this just feels like a moment. Do you know what I mean? It feels like a moment to me, because we at Tonga they would always get people to come out and do a little tune here and there, like gigs would come and do it, and Mike Skinner was DJ'd, and but yeah, that tune I feel like kicked off then this drill sound that came from that. I don't know. Heady One's a legend. Drake platformed. It's a Kumsi Kumsa situation, man, because you go, England was making was finally being self-sufficient when it came to UK urban music or rap and grime, that there was no denying it at that point. So someone just had to jump on board because England was getting too important. And the English voices were always going to happen. Before the Drake stuff, Dave was still doing his freestyles 16, 17 years old on One Extra, and people were fucking going nuts about him. Skepta and JME and like fucking Gets. You know, he had this whole scene of people that were just probably the best rappers in the world. Like, I mean, like, Giggs is... The way Giggs manipulates space...
Oh, come on.
In his lyrics...
Innocent... military, like I think about Innocent all the time, and crazy. I'm just like, I've tried to write to that beat a couple times, and not successfully, but it's like, it's so confident, bro.
The way he just like stops, and I'm like, what? It's sick. And then we got Cass is Dead, who's like, you know, I love Cass, and big shout out to him, and you know, he's got his own very own unique thing, wearing the mask and you know all of that, but he's been doing his.
Is that y'all's MF Doom?
he's a very different character to MF Doom, but Cass is Dead is brilliant. You'd like him a lot, and he raps now on a lot of 80s kind of themed instrumentals. I think Pet Shop Boys are on the album and stuff like that. It's fucking nuts.
Oh, wow.
And
like a sampler or like Pet Shop
them.
Boys? That's fire.
And he's brilliant, man. And like my boy Ed Skrein directed a couple videos for him, and I act in one of the music videos, and one of his music videos, and he signed to XL, yeah, Adele's label. So it's like the same label. Check that before, or cut it out if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's right.
I'm not cutting shit.
I'm not cutting shit. If it's wrong, I'm sorry. Everyone. But yeah, like there's a lot of incredible, unique voices in England. Just go home then, Americans might say.
I would not say that. There's a couple no, I'm just
yeah.
You know, it's funny because we the only time, you know, look, I wish to see the empire collapse. Everyone knows that. But the one time that I feel like an American nationalist is on the SAG-AFTRA picket line. I'm not even in SAG, bro. Yeah. But when it comes to acting shit, when I'm like, all these British motherfuckers come here and start being like, hey, can I do The Godfather? And they're like, you know, really, they're good. You know what I'm saying? I can't even take that away. Man. And I always say, and I've said this to you, that like it's all good. I think that shit is all good as long as it's, you know, mutual. Like, I would love to like write some movie. You write the movie. Where are you from? Where's your neighborhood?
Finsbury Park. Write
a Finsbury Park, like the most British shit.
Yeah.
Some Stathlets Flats ass shit.
Yeah.
Which, by the way,
it's just the best.
Now let me speak to the listener about a thing I'm pretty sure they don't know. I don't even know how to spell this. If you're American and you want to feel like what the fuck is going on. I know this is English, but I don't know what's going on at all. Go watch Stath Let's Flats. STATH Let's Flats. It's like I put it on. Safia came in, and Safia has British friends, and she was like, "What kind of shit? What's going on here, bro? What's going on here?" But if you like wrote that, but then cast a bunch of like New York theater actors. Right, to do that shit, then I'm like, okay, even exchange. That's the only time I feel American nationalism is as an actor. And again, like I haven't worked as an actor in 100
Shout
years.
Shout out to Kyle as well, who I met for the first time properly the other day in London, who's in Staff Let's Flats. He's the one he almost plays the very straight-faced person in The Office. Okay,
yeah. He does a great job.
He's incredible at it because he plays, he's basically us. He's the audience. He's watching the madness going, what are you saying? Like, I don't understand. And that's what makes his comedy so good, like Kyle, because he's so... he's the lead in a show called Ghosts as well in England. But he has this brilliant like grasp on playing the straight man in scenes that I think a lot of people... I mean, he's obviously incredibly funny and brilliant at improv too, and a legend at that. But I think a lot of people forget in comedy how important being the straight man is.
Yeah, you can't be a legend in improv. That's not a real thing. But
it's for British people. American improv, well, that's different.
Improv is not art, bro. You can't be good at it. You can't be good or bad at it.
You haven't seen British people do it. You haven't seen. We're way better.
Listen, if you want to like my Guantanamo Bay. If you want to really take me to like have a CIA black site experience, invite me to see improv.
Okay.
But
how do you feel about freestyle rapping?
That's not the same fucking thing. First of all, we have had this conversation a lot because you're like one of the the great rappers I know, and like you want to freestyle. I was like, I got to write down in it. I got to like sit in my head like you know what I mean. Because
I got freestyle about my emotions.
Yes, you can. I'm gonna have you,
and I'm mad.
If you're not being sarcastic, that's ill. Tell the truth. Just tell the truth and stay in pocket. Yeah. Okay, we're gonna come back. Is freestyling not like a thing in? Because to me, I was taught that if you cannot, bro. After our shows in Florida's not even a. Dude, Tampa's not like a city you think about as being hip hop, but we were so on this like wanting to be New York shit, and we weren't. It wasn't just the rhyming; it was the culture. It was the elements. You had to do 3 things at once. You had to be writing graffiti and DJing and rhyming or whatever. But after any of our live shows, we were in another city, or if it was somebody who was coming to our city, the cipher outside the venue, and you had to really freestyle. Was a demand. It wasn't like an option. And so even though I had a friend who basically he would say like there's one type of freestyle that you do in the cipher and one type of freestyle that you do on the radio. On the radio you should write it up and throw it away and never rap it again and pretend. Which I get that. That's the sort of like that's where the word freestyle sort of had a different meaning. So a Funk Flex freestyle or a Big Boy freestyle or whatever,
it's
like
just a verse
LA Leakers. It's a verse, you know what I mean? But you should be able to freestyle, and actually the less you freestyle, the worse you get at it. Because there was a time when once I started putting records out and I felt like I had a certain milieu and I was like, nah, man, people want to hear me be good every time. I want to be good every time. Then I stopped freestyling. So I would kind of like keep a million verses in my head and waiting for that cipher. But the problem is your verse is written to a certain cadence. Of course. So when someone's beatbox is different or something, it's just like it doesn't always work, right?
I just think they're 2 completely different skills.
They're 2 different skills.
Because I know so many people that are the best freestylers in the world, but they cannot make a song. They can't make a song, and I don't think I could be both. I don't think I could be a freestyler because the reason why I'm a great lyricist, I said it, is because I think so much about what I'm about to say. I've got to take.
There's so much shade in this. It's crazy. Like, I can't really freestyle because I'm a deep thinker in it.
But no, so I'm a deep warrior. I'm a deep warrior. Not as in like warrior, like going to war. I worry.
No, we understand.
And I gotta think about what I'm about to say because it's gonna be sad. It's gonna have like levels.
Do you identify as an emo rapper?
Yeah. Emo thug, man. And I think I have to because I know that each word, which you know well as a screenwriter, each word is. I started to think I've got to pay £1 for every word that I use.
100%.
So I have to make sure that each word is worth £1. And so that's what I started to think when I write scripts and when I write lyrics. And so I think that also goes into because I talk too much in real life, too much, whatever, and I judge myself for it sometimes, especially in a situation where, like in a romantic situation, I just talk, I'm saying too much. I'm like giving away too much. I like this person and I'm like awkward and all of that stuff. And so when I'm writing, there's a chance to regain some of that control. I can regain the control of my currency of my words, and I can really think about it, and I can place them in a beautiful, exact manner. And anyway, all that to say, I'm just a shit freestyler.
It's I'm gonna circle back to this, but I want to say, yeah, I mean, when you said that a word should cost £1, right? I really resonate with that. When I'm writing a script or a novel or whatever, my goal is that every page is so ill that if you take 300 pages, you throw them out the fucking window, and somebody finds, page 15 on their shoe, that they have just out of context, they're like, this is so ill on its own that I have to now go on a Bolaño-esque journey to find out who this writer is, right? All art is about essence, right? But how I was taught was that poetry is the art that is solely about essence. Yeah. So if a play or a movie is like, an orange picked from the vine, picked from the tree, poetry is like concentrated vitamin C, right? So my wife, one of the great American writers, when she works, I watch how she works. She sits around and goes, lacuna, pond. Lacuna, pond. I don't know. Should I say lacuna? Should I say pond? For a fucking hour and a half. And then she's like, lacuna. Bam. One word in the wall. Then the next one. You know what I mean? Like back and forth until... So at the end, every line is so rich that it's incantatory. That's why earlier when we were talking about magic spells, I'm like, yes, dude, magic words. Like it is... If you are writing, the people who make fun of that type of shit can't write for shit. The people who are like, you think it's a magic spell? I'm like, yes. If you don't think so, it's because you fucking suck, and that's not my fault. That being said, I do think that... So what I'm saying is I agree with you about the writing, and I also feel that, but I want to, one time, whether it's on the pod or, just like at the crib or whatever, like, I really want to encourage you to... And I'm only... This is like, you've helped me so much... And you tell me when I suck. You know what I'm saying? You're so it's not, and I don't. It's not about being good or bad, right? It's about like the thing that I want to invite to you is that freestyling it's the closest thing that the writer, the rapper, the lyricist has to jazz. It's the closest thing that we have to the trumpet or the piano. I'm not a musician, yo. Like I am a musician, but. My wife always tells me you have to say you're a musician because I've been making music for a long time. But I'm not like, I can't sit on the piano and impress you. I can't sit on the guitar and impress you. I can grab the mic and impress you. Yeah. But it's...
And you can sit on the piano. I've seen you play piano. What are you talking about?
I have like one thing. I go to the piano. I can't play
piano like that.
Look, I go to the piano to like figure things out. Right. I go to the piano to like have an acoustic. Like one of the first things I did when I was like, okay, like I got a job. I was like, I want a piano. Because word to Sampha, like no one knows me like the piano in my mother's house. I think that's true, and I've always played the piano as a way to have something acoustic that's immediate, that feels like it has gravitas and depth, right? But when I watch the great jazz players, the great jazz pianists, the great jazz trumpet players, saxophone players, when I see them improvise. And again, maybe this is why I go so hard against, improv, and I'm like only being slightly jokey, but it is like to improvise is it actually, there's something here that I want to circle, right? It's interesting that you're willing to go out and improvise comedy.
Yeah.
But you're not willing to improvise rapping. And you said like,
Yeah.
oh, because it's so serious. And that's why I love the true art of freestyling. And the reason I liken it to jazz, aside from the obvious history, is because, yeah, it doesn't have to be, honestly, dude, I think I'm like, I don't know, a decently brave person and I've acted and whatever. If you brought me to some improv shit, I would have some instinct for what to do in the situation, but it would make me so nervous and it would embarrass me. Whereas like,
that's why I did it, because it's scary.
100%. But with rapping, it's like, it's the only time freestyling. And again, there's two different things, but it's the only time that I feel like I can touch the muse in a way that could put me on a stage with a great piano player, a great, drummer, a great bass player, and I could actually contribute something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Whereas I could not on an instrument. You know what I mean? So that's why I would, and again, I also understand that in order for there to not be fear, there has to be community. You have to be able to be like, yo, you're safe. You can fuck up. You can be offbeat. You can whatever. And so like, I encourage you next time,
we'll sit
let's
and
jump in the cypher and, this
we'll jump in the shower. We'll
jump in the shower. I mean, the shower, we could. I mean, like,
what? There's a no, I can't remember. There was a British slang thing I was going to say. I've forgotten it. No, but we'll jump in. Look, we'll put the shower on. We'll put the cypher on, and we'll get.
I don't know where the shower thing. I don't know and I'm open to all types of things, but I just didn't see. I guess maybe it's about acoustics. You know what I mean? Like put the joint on.
It's acoustics. Yeah, it's putting the mic in there. We do it. No, look. Jokes aside, like I do want to freestyle more. I think again that's part of the beauty of, again, doing improv was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun because it got me to just do the opposite of freestyling, which is get on stage and instead of just blurting out something to try and make people laugh, take a beat, think about it, and then do it. And that's what really kind of was really helpful to me in terms of just like, I don't want to, I mean, there are incredible improv comedians that I know, but I don't want to do that. That's not the thing that I just did it to cultivate presence and to cultivate presence in front of people so that I would be better at cultivating presence on camera so that I could then take a moment, not rush my line and just go, okay, now let me do it. And it honestly, it's helped my timing in life, and that's great. And that's the opposite of what freestyling does, because you have to keep up with the beat.
Well, I would argue that it's not the opposite. I think you can take a moment, right? It's just the moments are shorter.
Yeah.
And it's, the great freestyles, like, maybe I'll put it in as the outro music here if we can get away with it, is the, Most Def in the park, Mommy saying Ben Akiz, doing that freestyle in the park and his man's like grabbing his arm. Yeah. That's where I'm like, that's love. That's the whole point. That's the cipher, is for your man to be holding on to your bicep while you're rapping because he wants to like connect with you, bro, because he's vibrating on all cylinders. And, we are obviously have done, you've been paid as a musician. I've been paid as a writer. Haven't been paid as much as a musician. You know what I'm saying? You want to get into this writing shit, all this other stuff, right? But ultimately, we didn't get into this to have careers. We got into this to touch the muse, be in the garage making something, tinkering away. Yeah. And I think that
that's true.
The thing that I'm trying to get at, especially in this new city with new people, is about like getting back to the essence of it, to the fun shit, getting back to like why we did this in the first place. So anyway, thank you so much for reminding me why we do this in the first place. I appreciate it a lot. Course, and hope to have you on the show again.
Yeah, anytime, man. Anytime. I just like chatting shit. So, do you know what I mean? And I'll happily do it with you at this